So Superman 3, the next movie we are looking at in this retrospective series, we're going to talk about it. I've got a lot to say about this movie, so let me know your thoughts down there. Smash that like button, click subscribe, and let's talk about Superman 3. Superman 3, the movie that came out in 1983. Now, again, this is going to be another one of those product of the time, so the visuals and the effects and everything like that aren't going to be up to the Man of Steel sort of aspect that we have been looking at in the last retrospective. So you got to take that into consideration as well. So we can't really compare the visuals with Man of Steel or anything like that. But when it comes to Superman 3, so this movie is the continuation of the previous two Superman movies. And instead of Lex Luthor and instead of General Zod being the villain, we have a new villain. But guess what? He's another rich scumbag who just wants to take over the world and control everything. It's a bit like Lex Luthor. It literally feels like Lex Luthor 2.0. That's really what this villain feels like. He's not really flushed out, and I'm kind of just like, yeah, I saw this motive with Lex Luthor. Except this guy acted more like Lex Luthor than Lex Luthor acted like Lex Luthor. So I was kind of like, okay then, so we're going to go down that route, are we? And then we also have the wizard on a computer, Gus Gorman. And I actually like Gus Gorman's character. I actually did. And I thought his performance was fantastic. He's very quirky, and he felt very much like a geek. He felt like a computer genius. He was walking around, didn't know how to interact with people or anything like that, on edge all the time. So it felt very stereotypical of the time that you would consider a geek or a computer wizard. Like, he felt like that. And I thought the performance was really, really well. Like, it was brilliant. I was sitting there, I was like, yeah, I buy this. I completely buy this. So he is working with the villains, and they're creating supercomputers and taking over the world with the first computers. You know, all the gist of taking over the world stuff. Meanwhile, we actually have Superman and Lois, who Lois isn't in this film at all, really. She's at the start, and then she's at the end. But we actually have another love interest. You know that other character that Superman sort of has a thing for? That's right. Lana. Lana is in here, and this is him going back to Smallville and going back there and rekindling a relationship with Lana and seeing that she has a kid and being there for her as Clark. So you have him going to Smallville doing all that while Lois is out on vacation somewhere else, doing something, whatever she wants to do. So I thought that was an interesting choice. After the first two movies, especially Superman 2, you really drove that interest of Superman and Lois getting together. You really hammered that hard in Superman 2, and I was actually enjoying that relationship. Now, I did say in the first Superman, Lois Lane wasn't my particular favorite character in that. Superman 2, I started to grow to really enjoy her and their relationship. And then come Superman 3, I never thought I'd say this, but it really missed Lois Lane. It really did. I felt like I didn't really buy Clark falling for Lana so quickly. Like, it's like he just, I don't know, I don't get it. It didn't fit the character of Clark Kent for me. He is, pursuing Lois Lane, and then all of a sudden he meets Lana Lane, and now all of a sudden he's in love with her and trying to get with her. So it didn't work on that scale for me. I thought that whole love interest it didn't work. It was nowhere near as strong as Superman 2 with the whole Lois Lane storyline and the love interest there. I thought that worked so much better. So it was a shame. I never thought I'd say I'd miss Lois Lane in this movie. Never did. But when we get down to the core of this movie, with the whole conflict of Superman and the villain, look, I actually think this was probably the perfect movie to bring in a character like BIZARRO. I really do. Like they have a sort of a similar idea to BIZARRO in this film, where we actually see Superman go rogue. He obviously gets this kryptonite that's not quite kryptonite because they don't know the components. It's an unknown component. So he just puts tar in it instead. And somehow it alternates his sort of like personality. And now we start to see the evil Superman within him start to come out, and he starts to basically do evil stuff. He's not saving people. He's just being an absolute nuisance instead, drinking, everything like that. And then we get that moment where the actual evil inside him comes out and projects itself as an actual entity, and he now fights Clark Kent. And I enjoyed that fight sequence. I thought that was quite impressive for the time. It actually is much better than the General Zord fight. Much better. I actually prefer this fight better. And I enjoyed that back and forth and him tackling with his, like, it's a metaphor of the internal struggle inside of him because of the kryptonite. Evil and good fighting inside, but projected on the outside. So I enjoyed that concept and that idea, but I felt like instead of doing that, you could have maybe had BIZARRO in this film. And the easiest way to do that, like, obviously they create this giant supercomputer, and this for the final battle. I would have scrapped that, and I would have had them create, like, get maybe DNA of Superman or something like that, and create BIZARRO instead, and use him as, like, the evil Superman in this movie. I felt like that could have been better, and I felt like then you would have an actual conflict where Superman's like, what the hell is going on here? Why is everyone turning on me? And I think that would have been a great psyche to dive into Superman having this idea of everyone's turning against him, and he's like, well, I haven't done anything wrong. Why is everyone turning on me? But then you have BIZARRO there. And I thought that could have worked so well in Superman 3. I thought it was all set up for that. But instead they went down the whole internal projection battle happened, and then the big supercomputer, which it's kind of a lame ending. It is. It's lame. It is lame. Like, this supercomputer knows and can basically figure out your weakness, and it somehow creates kryptonite without knowing what the unknown substance is. So there is a lot of plot holes and a lot of holes in general in this movie that don't make any sense at all. Like, somehow the supercomputer just knows how to make kryptonite, but they don't know what the unknown thing is. Like, it doesn't make sense. I'm sitting there like, right, so I'm supposed to believe that. And then obviously you have the creepy high school jock guy in here as well. You have that stereotypical thing come to life with that character where he's always hitting on Lana Lane. It's just, for me, I like the first Superman movie way more than this. I really do. Obviously Man of Steel is still number one. Then I would, between Superman 2 and Superman 3, it is that they feel very much the same feeling for me. There's bits that I absolutely like, and then there's bits that I just do not like at all. And, like, I just wish they would just, fix that other half that I didn't like, and I would actually like this so much better. Because there are so many moments here in Superman 3 where I'm kind of like, wow, that'd be cool. Like, when the robot takes that chick and starts to make the robot come into life, I'm like, okay, so we're going to get the robot fight Superman. No, Superman just, like, literally just hits the beam and just knocks it back down. And I'm kind of like, well, that's lame. You could have had this cool supercomputer created itself into an actual being, and it's going to fight Superman. That would have been a cool battle. But no, they didn't do that. So for me, there are very much slow pacing issues here as well. I feel like it's a 2-hour movie. It feels longer than 2 hours. And there are some scenes in that you could have narrowed down. There are some great scenes as well in here of Superman saving people. I mean, obviously the opening sequence is very much a gimmick. It's funny. There is a lot of humor in here as well, and obviously that was back then. You have that humor in there as well. So overall, look, Superman 3 for me is a hit and a miss movie. There are elements that I like, elements that I do respect them trying to do, but then I also think at the same time, maybe you could have adapted this character maybe into this role instead and gone down that road, instead of having a Lex Luther 2.0. Because that's really what it is. The villain is a Lex Luther 2.0. He's just a rich guy with a lot of money that wants to get rich and wants to take over the world and control the world. And that's basically Lex Luthor. Like, you've already done Lex Luthor twice in the previous two movies. Why do we have to have the same character? I just felt like you could, like, out of the whole rogues gallery that you can choose from when it comes to Superman and his villains and everything like that, you could have easily gone down a different route and done something different. But it is what it is. This is what they chose to do. This is what we got. I don't hate the movie, but I also don't love it. So let me know in the comments below, what did you guys think of Superman 3? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Smash it down in that comment section below. Smash that like button for me and click subscribe. And I'll see you guys next video. Until then, stay safe and peace out.